Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. So today we're tackling a massive mystery. Why do human societies actually work the way they do? If you've ever looked at a bizarre cultural ritual, or maybe even your own daily habits, and thought, why on earth do we do this? Well, you're in the right place. We are going to use four distinct theoretical lenses to decode the hidden structures of our society. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the puzzle of society, then look at two types of functionalism, dive into Merton's hidden functions, explore structuralism, and finally, figure out how to choose your sociological lens. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the puzzle of society and understanding the present. Back in the early 20th century, scholars kind of shifted gears. They moved away from just guessing about speculative history to ask a really profound question about the present. Why do societies work the way they do? I mean, how do bizarre customs, everyday habits, and these massive institutions all fit together without the whole thing just collapsing into chaos? To figure this out, early scholars adopted an approach called functionalism. So instead of asking where a custom came from, they started asking, what does it actually do? Moving on to Section 2, let's look at two distinct flavors of functionalism. So first up, we have A.R. Radcliffe Brown, who pioneered what's called structural functionalism. He basically viewed society as a living organism. Think about it like this. Just like your respiratory and arterial systems work together to keep your human body alive, social institutions, the economy, religion, education, they all work together to maintain the health of the entire social structure. To him, something like a mourning ritual wasn't really about personal grief. It was actually a mechanism to resolve social tension and reaffirm our collective identity. Now, in stark contrast, Bronislaw Malinowski looked at things from the inside out. He pioneered immersive participant observation, literally going out and living among the people in the Trobriand Islands. He argued that culture isn't just some abstract organic structure. Instead, it's a practical toolkit designed solely to fulfill our biological, psychological, and social needs as individuals. For example, when he looked at the complex, magical Kula exchange of shell necklaces between islands, he didn't just see a rigid societal structure. He saw a system that was meeting deep, individual human needs for prestige, security, and belonging. So here's the direct showdown between these two pioneers. On one side, Radcliffe Brown gives us the macro lens, right? He's focusing on society, enduring structures, and finding universal laws. But on the other side, Malinowski gives us the micro lens. He's hyper-focused on the individual, lived culture, and deep, immersive observation. It's two totally different ways to solve the exact same puzzle. All right, Section 3, Merton's hidden social functions. Just when you think functionalism is perfectly straightforward, along comes sociologist Robert K. Merton with a major plot twist. He showed us that our institutions actually have layers we can't always see. He started with this idea of the manifest function. That's the surface-level reason we think we do things. It's the conscious, intended outcome. You go to school to learn, you buy a car for transportation. It's exactly what it says on the tin. But Merton argued we absolutely must look deeper at what he called the latent functions. These are the hidden, unintended, and honestly, often completely unrecognized consequences of our actions. Like, why do people really buy a wildly expensive, flashy new car? Sure, the manifest function is transport, but the latent function is to silently signal social status. It's a concept known as conspicuous consumption. So latent functions are basically the hidden machinery operating behind our everyday choices. Let's look at a really concrete example from Merton's work that makes this crystal clear: the Hopi rain dance. The manifest function of this ceremony is, quite literally, to bring rain to water the crops. Now, a casual observer might see that it didn't rain and just dismiss the entire practice as some illogical superstition. But wearing our detective hats, if we dig a bit deeper, we have to ask, if it literally fails to produce rain, why on earth do they keep doing it? Well, the answer lies in the latent function. The dance is actually highly functional, just not for the weather. It successfully gathers the scattered members of the community together, it reinforces their essential group identity, and it builds social cohesion. So what appeared completely irrational on the surface actually makes perfect, beautiful sense once you uncover its latent function. Which brings us to Section 4, Structuralism and the Cultural Code. Now, we're going to zoom right past the surface of society, directly into the deepest framework of the human mind, guided by the French anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss. Lévi-Strauss actually drew heavy inspiration from linguistics. He believed that just as we unconsciously use complex grammar rules to speak our native language perfectly without even thinking about it, we use hidden, unconscious rules to organize and build our cultures.
And this brings us to his core concept, binary opposites. Levi-Strauss argued that the human mind universally categorizes the world through sharp contrasts, just to make sense of everything. We're talking light and dark, raw and cooked, nature and culture. By analyzing myths and rituals, he wasn't really looking at the stories themselves. He was hunting for this underlying grammar of the human mind. He totally shifted the focus from what a culture does to how a culture actually thinks.
Finally, Section 5, Choosing Your Sociological Lens. So we've explored some pretty incredible theories today, but how do we actually use them? Well, we now have 4 master lenses at our disposal. We can look at the macro-level societal skeleton with Radcliffe-Brown. We can zoom in on individual human needs with Malinowski. We can hunt for hidden motives with Merton. Or we can decode the unconscious grammar of the mind with Levi-Strauss. And listen, these aren't just dusty academic theories sitting in some forgotten textbook. They are active, vibrant lenses. They prove that even the most seemingly irrational parts of our daily lives, the bizarre trends, the repetitive rituals, the endless consumption, they actually serve a profound structural purpose. There really is order in the chaos if you just know how to look for it. I'll leave you with this provocative thought. Take out your phone and look at your most used social media app. You already know its manifest function, right? Sharing photos, maybe reading the news. But ask yourself, what is its latent function? Is it fulfilling some unconscious need for belonging? Is it silently reinforcing a social hierarchy? Keep your lenses sharp, and I promise you'll never look at the world the exact same way again. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning everything.